What's going on, guys? Hope everybody's doing well. Time for a little YouTube recap. So today was a final, the open session gap NQ we've been talking about finally got up there. We had another big push up, but more importantly, big anchor magnets. So we had some really cool stuff happen to VWAPs today, and we had a pretty stellar day overall. Little chop to begin with, but we put in a couple of really good reversal points at the 1618 here. We had a really nice chop back down. There's so many good trades here that we're going to try to cram in here. We got the NFL draft in my city, and my other businesses are very busy. So I'm a little slower this week. After this week, I will be back to normal if I plow through this stuff or if I miss a video here. We're going to talk about all this stuff. The daily GPs of the 415. We're going to talk about the magnets that we had coming up in the QQQ. Excuse me. We had a VIX shy gap I want to go over. That was a really good opportunity move here. And then, yeah, pretty much PNLs are there. We had some really good PNLs today. All the top SIPX price doing well. So let's get into it. So look, first off, we got the NQ. Now, NQ had the opening gap of an open session gap, right? If you guys remember that one, it was right here. And we actually, I think we traded this one live here. And let's make a marker there. So very early in my chat, I said up, 150 points. Now, we called 250 some points two ways today, and I'll show you how we did it. So we had the gap and go, but most importantly, and that's, again, I'm talking about down here in the futes, the weekly GP. So on this channel, you know, fib out the high-low of no golden pocket tags, right? So let's take a peek at this. Here's last week. This is current week, right? I fibbed out last week high-low. We put those teal. We opened up rather soft here today. I'll show you. Right into this mother trucker. Into the GP. So we obviously had the Tesla bounce. We had some other strong earnings, and that was the kickoff to the upside. Now, that last week's Fibonacci golden pocket was a no tag, which means last week's high-low, right, that we drew, we never came to the golden pocket so far this week. It's Wednesday, right? So as we recovered, as we said yesterday, 18,100 for our chat, anything over 18,100 has a great chance to return to the golden pocket because this is last week's low. So anything over 18,106 has an ability to come back to the golden pocket. So we started with 18,106 as a big support last trade day, gapped up on the Tesla, and lo and behold, we landed right in the GP. Not a big deal. We assumed we were going to have a pre-market run-up, and that's what we talked about this morning. Anything that holds that 50, especially last night, which is the 50 Fibonacci weekly, she was going to go straight up and straight up. So it hit the top golden pocket. So we opened up and consolidated, waiting for moving averages to get close, pushed up again, hit the top pocket. And what do we look for confirmation? Once we break over a level on the weekly, we look for it to back test on the weekly, right? And then ran up to finally filling the gap we just put out in the early point of the video. So we had a run up, but we called 19,000, right? So in chat, in the Discord, I'm here yelling at all my members going, guys, we're putting micros in all day, 18,850 and above. That was the call. So 18,850 and above was what we wanted to see. That was right around here, 6 something a.m. right here on this dip because we just closed the gap. So just closed the gap on the NQ, seen to come down. I'm like, I'm buying everything, every single little tick down. And we might have just moved up. No, that's the open. We moved down from right here. And we came and we just push. And every $50 increment, I said, I'm putting orders out. So 18,900, 18,850, 18,008, all the way down. And then we had anchor VWAPs on the catch up, as we talked about here earlier too. So I'm going to bring over the... Where's it at? There it is. Little trading view. Little session on the Qs. And to the 5 minutes. So I had a bunch of anchors here rolling over from the pre-market. And this is another big one that I like to use, pre-market anchors. And of course, the open. So here's Qs. This is after hours in the deeper blue. Okay. Pre-market here in the brown. Right. And that's the opening candle. So I put an anchor point right there for the opening for a few. That's 3 a.m. today. QQQ kicks off, and then right as that 6 a.m. pulled back, again, right coming after 6 a.m., this was that pullback. I said, bye, into the anchors. And off we go to 19,000. So this opening pre-market Open, high, low, close is my settings on this, guys. Just an anchor view app. I have it on open, high, low, close 4. So I put it on there and I just wrote it up right there. Ding. And I'm like, wow, that thing ran off that anchor. If it ever comes back down to the anchor, I'm going to aggressive and buy again, which we did. But we paired that anchor, right, with different things for that pullback, right? Psychological NQ pullback. And then, of course, we assumed 19K because, well, we were right there. So we opened up and got 19K. And it was fantastic. It's a really good trade day for that. Now, let's get into the Qs now. We had some longs and some shorts on this disposition. Now, this one was interesting enough because we needed a couple things to happen for us to play this. So you see some little tags on the screen here. And what happened was we came to the 415 candle. I suppose we should start with that, huh? Because the giant gap up we came up to was the 415. Now we fibbed out this guy because obviously yesterday's golden pocket isn't really going to help us when we're gapped up that much, right? So 415 was a no tag GP from way back on 415. You guessed it. So and when we had a gap down right here from 415 and down, we actually finally came back up and first tagged it. So all of these golden pocket tags are all first tags because 415 never had anything else. Obviously it was a gap and go to the downside. And then we got the weekly tags as well. So that's a big part of our trade. No tag 38.20. And I wanted this short all day. I wanted this so bad short, but she picked up early and I'll show you what happened right now. So when we came up to the 415 golden fibbies here, these are all first tag, remember, right? And of course, the Trumpster on the horn here with all these wild candles here. He was tweeting, EU is back and forth. We had all sorts of monster stuff. So I'm going to delete these, get this a little cleaner here. And where's that intraday green right there? Okay. So we fibbed out a couple of the news candles we had, and then we had some interesting kind of high lows from the news. So we had new home sales, and that was a huge back and forth at 9 a.m. And then we had the Trump candle, which just started tweeting, obviously went bonkers, right? But it left this little candle here, 9:20 a.m. Central. And that guy had a no GP tag. So you see the neon green fibs. And of course, it hit the golden pocket daily. So that means this 5-minute candle right here had association with the 38.20 daily from 415, the 50 fib from 415, the VWAP, the 10 SMA. There's a lot of good connecting points there for that candle to utilize the no-tag GP. So I pointed it to the upside and we ran. But we were more short biased and then entry 1 and 2 for the scalps, okay? So look at these notes here. Last long target of the day would have been last week's high if we got it. But we snubbed out under 415 high. Okay, no big deal. The 1618 was telling us that too. We came up to the 1618 and I said, I can't go any long here, guys. We need a pullback to confirm. So we needed to find confirmation of the long. There was no more upside here. So the 1618 was resistance from this 5-minute candle, right? Boom. As it came down, entry 1, I wanted to start buying at E1 right here. Then we had another algo blip, of course, slam down into E2 add. And that's entry 1. And then I was going to add a whole bunch at entry 2. Now that worked out perfectly fine because we slammed down. It filled those orders into entry 2, snapped up, right? And right here from the bottom of that golden pocket and up, you were up 60, 70 points already. And then I told everybody on stream, I said, take your profits from E2 because if you started at entry 1 to see if the 100 was going to hold and it goes down to 2, this is the aggressive add. That's what I told the chat on stream. So if you had your orders out where we had ours at the GP, snap it, fill it, snaps up 60 points, you got to take some profit, right? That's exactly what we said on stream. So as we came into the rest of the day, you'll see one last note, and it says, has to hold for long, which means I want to see it above the VWAP and this 5-minute candle. If it does not, here's the sentiment. And I said this a million times, I'm yelling at everybody today, 460, if it holds above that, again, has to hold long, 460, right? If 460, which is just the golden pocket right here of 415's candle, again, that has to hold for the long. If it does not, it is coming to, you guessed it, the first tag weekly. And that's why I drew a sentiment candle. Best case entry short is 460. Exit is right here at the 38.20. So if you were following and paying attention to this has to hold and didn't hold and it started breaking down, great. We have a short outside of the fib range down to the weekly. Look at that. That's 160 points. Not bad, right? So again, if you look at that weekly, where did I get that level? Remember, it's a first tag, no tag, okay? So let's show you where I got that short target because that's the one I wanted big time today. Let's make it a cleaner. There we go. That was very not clean. Okay, well, we'll do it this way. We draw a little too much here. So remember where I got this. This is our week right here, current and last week. And then when we opened up on the Qs, remember, after hours pre-market, none of that matters, okay? Holy moly. Yesterday's action. Do you see anything in the golden pocket of last week? No. After hours, does that matter? Pre-market does not matter. We're looking for live trading only. Tesla earnings. The FOMO ramp continues. Okay, no big deal. And that's where I wanted a weekly GP tag because we gapped up and over with the earnings reports right through this bad boy. After hours into pre, it still ran. And that's, again, why we said it's just going to run all pre and FOMO out and trap everybody. Because that's usually what happens when you leave a golden pocket in the dust like this. You come back to it, right? And it's great because we had that trade on. But again, we were just looking for that top. And we got the confirmation. It's all here. So let's take a peek at the confirmations before we get out. And that's why we went short and over under. And that's why we put that note there. And I yelled at everybody today. And I was like, guys, if this doesn't hold, it's going down to the weekly. There it is, 454.65. So the confirmations, a couple of big keys here. We always like to mark off where the 50 is on the RSI. You can check out our indicators we use. I have a lot of recaps and know-how on the channel on how to use these. Let's take a look at it. So we did get that RSI there at a little bit of a lower high at high a day. That's a pretty good signal for weakness. That's why we waited for the confirmation of long. That's that long candle we're talking about right here, new home sales data, and that broke through, right? We had the PMI Trump tweet thing and more Trump tweets and yeah, all over the place with the news. But the 10 a.m. Housing sale data kind of broke that down. So this lower high RSI coming back down, breaking through the 50, and then the MACD. Look at the MACD. It gave you a solid small wave. It gave you the moving average cross, and that was the confirmation you were watching. Once it got stuck under that 10 SMA, broke, held, snap VWAP, she was coming down to here. So it magneted all the way down. We got our first tag of the weekly, which means if that is my short target, that also becomes my long scalp entry. And look at that, right back to standard VWAP. You could have played either or. But besides, we did call the huge 126-point MNQ ads here for this pre, and then we had some really good trades in between, even on the chop, and we had a great plan for the weekly to come back down. So we did go pretty good overall. Not super amazing today with that chop, and that one long trade that you had a 62-point profit take on was quick, but the big weekly we talked about after that, under VWAP, that was key. Super key. So we'll see if we get the rest of the GP tomorrow. So that is it for me. You want to watch me do this stuff live, join the Discord, which I stream this live. It's not just text on Discord. You can come hang out in the chat. It's the first link in the description. If you subscribe and leave a comment on any of the videos this week, we're going to be giving away accounts this weekend. It'll be a quicker live stream because we do have the NFL draft, and my other business is going to be absolutely insane all weekend from literally tomorrow till Sunday. But we'll find some time to do a quick stream Saturday. We're going to try for 12 Central. If not, I might have to move it to Sunday because it'll calm down. So regardless, we're going to stream Saturday, Sunday. We're going to give away $100 with the Top Step accounts or just cash, whatever you want to do with it. Fine by me. So give this a like, a comment, a subscribe, all to get entered in. And we use a random comment picker to find you, to pay you. You guys take care, trade safe. See you on the next.